What's up guys, I'm slashcan, the two-time world champion. They just released a new patch, the final patch before I play in Worlds. U Impact Part 2 for Pokemon. This is really exciting. They're actually updating the game regularly. Let's hope it continues. I'm really excited to get into this, so let's just hop straight into it. So, obviously Latias is coming. World Championship Series event coming soon, that's Worlds. And they talk about a bunch of stuff here. Honestly, guys, let me know what your thoughts are on Electrode Volleyball, because I actually enjoy this game mode way more than I thought I would. I actually think this is the most fun game mode they've ever added, and I hope they keep this in the game for a while. I hope it becomes a permanent game mode, because honestly, this is the most fun I've had in Unite outside of Ranked in a very, very long time. So, yeah. So, the first buff here we have is Dragonite. They buffed its defense and special defense. They seem to be doing this a lot. I think it's good, you know, like power creep happens. There's a bunch of like new Pokemon that do a ton of damage. So like gradually like buffing their like defense and special defense, I think is good of Pokemon that are struggling. I like these like little changes they're doing. I honestly wonder if like, so this is like level 1, right? And like this is level 15. So it's a 45 overall buff at level 15, which is not big at all. That is not a big buff. But like I wonder like if they change the spread, right? Like say you get more defenses at level 13, that's a huge buff, you know? So like if it's more than like just like adding these like at even levels, like if it's spread out, I think that's a way bigger buff. But honestly, I'm not sure how they do it. So it'll be interesting. I think it'll definitely make Dragonite a lot better. Maybe the Outrage moveset will be better, but I could also see the Hyper Beam moveset being better with this buff. Now, Lapras got some huge buffs, honestly. I think these are huge. It's 3.5% now of your max HP instead of 3%. That means you're going to be healing way more, and you boost auto a lot on Lapras. And Parasong got a full second off its cooldown. So these are some pretty big Lapras buffs. I think you could be seeing a lot more Lapras at Worlds, honestly. Goodra next. So honestly, like, this just feels like the Defender patches. I feel like they saw Defender players like me at the very top level not even playing Defenders because Defenders were so bad for the whole year. And they're like, you know what? We're going to buff a bunch of Defenders, make them good again. And so Goodra got buffed. And it's funny. This is just a 20 defense buff at level 15. But this is a 90 special defense buff, so huge special defense buff compared to the defense buff. And 20% increase on the Muddy Water is pretty good. Is this going to change a lot of interactions and how good it is? Probably not, but it's still a pretty big buff, and I'm excited to see how good Goodra is now with that change to Muddy Water. This Power Whip buff is honestly pretty big as well. Shorten cooldowns is always really nice to see on stun abilities. And 12% increase. So I think these are some pretty big buffs for Goodra. I think it was really, really struggling. So will you see it at the top level play? My guess is probably not. I think these buffs you'll actually see like maybe more Dragonite and Lapras in competitive play, especially Lapras so far. I'd say is a big winner so far. Goodra probably not, was really bad, but we'll see. I could be underestimating this Muddy Water buff. It's kind of hard. Again, I've told you guys, the way they do math, it's hard to tell when they say like 20% increase. It's not actually a 20% increase. It's like the numbers turn out really weird. So seeing how they do it is going to be really interesting. Now Gyarados had the Battle Pass skin, and I think the other buffs were kind of underwhelming, so they're buffing it again. HP buff, always nice. 10% increase on damage on Flail is really nice, honestly, to help that early game be better. Will this make you see Gyarados in the top level play? Maybe. I think you could see some of it. Will it make it like a top of the meta all-rounder? Probably not. It'll just be an okay pick now, I think, as opposed to like really, really bad. But I think they're decent buffs, not the biggest, but compared with the last buffs, I think it's pretty decent. So Ho-Oh, this is like an emergency nerf for Ho-Oh, honestly, which is yeah, it's crazy. Ho just finally got into the meta, finally had its time to shine, and they're hard nerfing it. So these are really big nerfs to Sacred Fire. Everything across the board got nerfed, except for the cooldown. Literally everything about the move got nerfed except for the cooldown, and the cooldown was already like 12 seconds long, so I can see why they didn't change the cooldown, because that'd be insane to make it like 15 seconds long or something, right? And they even nerfed Fire Spin, which is so sad to see, because I think Sacred Fire is what was dominating, not really Fire Spin. So I really hate to see this 10% decrease. But, you know, I think Ho will still be good. I think it'll still be really good. Will it be the best Pokemon in the game? Probably not anymore. I think Latios was already contesting for that spot, and now Latios will easily overtake Ho for that top 1 spot. Will it be a top 5 Pokemon? Probably. I could see it falling down to top 10. I think it's still like probably the best defender EXP share in the game right now, even with these nerfs. And yeah, will it be viable as a carry now? I'm not sure. But yeah, I think these nerfs were necessary, honestly, so I'm happy they did it before Worlds. And I'm really happy to see this one too, the Galarian Rapidash nerf. You guys don't know this, but this guy is a terrorist in pro play. In scrims and and top of ladder, like Galarian Rapidash is so strong. And a lot of casuals don't know it because it keeps getting banned in tournaments. So you didn't even get to see it at NAIC, but it was so strong. And Dazzling Gleam was a big part of that. So like I like this nerf. I think like a lot of their balance changes honestly have felt like they're a lot more in touch with what the game needs changed. Which is impressive with how out of touch they were with some previous balance changes. So I think like all of these balance changes were good. I don't disagree with any of them. Were there other Pokemon they probably should have like changed instead of these? Like probably there's a couple they could have changed that have been at the very bottom for a while. But you know, Goodra has been struggling. They gave Goodra buffs. That's good. I'd say like the way they buffed and nerfed these Pokemon are good. I'm honestly impressed by these last 2 balance patches. Probably like honestly some of the best balance patches we've gotten in years. Obviously it's a little small, but I think that's good before Worlds. You don't want to see a huge meta shift. Let's get into the bug fixes though, because I actually think some of these bug fixes are like a lot more game impacting than some of the buffs and nerfs, honestly. So apparently Ho-Oh's Sacred Fire would just gain the upgraded effects. So these are like upgraded effects, right? A lot of people don't like keep track of them, but like they're like big like game-changing stuff. So Sacred Fire's upgraded effect, I believe he gets it at level 13, increases the attack reduction of the burn to 30%. So he was just getting, like, Ho was just getting this huge buff to the move that upgrades the move at level 11. Because you get Flamethrower Plus at level 11. And that's like, you basically get it for so much longer in the game. Because there's some games you won't even hit level 13, right? And so this was making Ho a lot, like, more intentionally stronger than it was supposed to. And the same with Garchomp, actually. This bug has probably been here since, like, and Sacred Fire just got added, so this is excusable. But this bug has been in the game since the start. And Garchomp has been a complete menace in pro play. And it's just crazy to me. They're now acknowledging it's a bug. And basically increases the damage of both attacks. So Garchomp was just getting way more damage than he should have at level 11. And that's insane. Again, like that hugely impacts how good the character is. So Garchomp with this bug fix and along with its nerfs, I really think it's killed, guys. I really think Garchomp is killed. Like this, I think this seals the deal for me that like, I just think you won't see it win any games at Worlds. I feel like I can confidently say that you won't see it win any games at Worlds. Even if Teams fix it, I don't think it'll win. I didn't even know this existed, but it's good they changed that with Latios. Fixed a bug where Gengar's Hex was not reduced when it hit a paralyzed opponent. Honestly, guys, I feel like paralysis is so buggy in this game. I've felt that since like the very start, because I was a Zero Aura main when I started out, so I am not surprised to hear this. I feel like paralysis is like the most like buggy stun move, or like not stun, most buggy status effect in this game. Next is Mew's E-Ball. So they misspelled it, which just happens a lot in the patch, so it's kind of worrisome. But yeah, it's supposed to be Electro Ball because Mew does not have Electro Web. Was not decreasing attack speed. So now Mew's Electro Ball, which was already probably debatably Mew's like best move that I could choose, is now going to be even better. and Mew was already in a great spot. The last change they did with Mew, they buffed it. So this is just another huge buff to Mew. And this is gonna make it so much better against melee Pokemon, or just like a lot of Pokemon in general. Because like this will change a lot of interactions with how it can fight. So that's insane to me. That Mew's getting another buff before Worlds. Obviously, pretty good for our team. It could be like good and bad. You know, like you don't want Mew to be so good that it gets banned, because Otter's like probably the best Mew player in the world and he's on my team. But yeah, we'll see. Fixed a bug where Slowbro's Scald damage had been decreased by 10% after the... Yeah, so a lot of... I don't know if a lot of you know this, but they said they were going to buff his Scald by 10%, and they accidentally nerfed it by 10%. So Slowbro was just worse than it was supposed to be. And like the way they worded this, I don't even know if they're going to buff its Scald instead. Like, are they even going to... Are they gonna even buff it 10%? Or they're like, you know what, like we'll just give you the regular damage it's supposed to be. We got you, Slowbro. Because like I feel like originally they were trying to buff it, right? So I don't know, like they didn't even word it like they're gonna buff it by 10%. They're just but I mean, maybe because the previous patch notes said it was buffed by 10%, they'll just like revert it. Like, so that basically this is a 20% buff, or like even more, honestly, because like minus 10%, and when it's supposed to be plus 10% would be more than 20% increase from where it is now. But yeah, anyways, fixed a bug where Inteleon's Felsteiner did not gain. Yeah, so like with all the Intel changes, there was actually this huge buff, or not huge buff, huge nerf to it that wasn't the balance changes, where the Felsteiner was not gaining like the critical counters it was supposed to when they hit walls. And this wasn't actually with Intel's full evolution. I think this was with Drizzile. It's weird they don't specify that, but specifically only with Drizzile. It made Drizzile a lot worse, which you're Drizzile for a large portion of the early game, so that's really important. So Intel's gonna be a lot better now. This bug was making it really bad. I'm glad to see them change it, because I'm very interested to see the new Intel at Worlds. I think with this bug fix, you will now see Intel at Worlds played a decent amount. I think before this bug fix, you probably would have seen like no Intel, or at least it wouldn't have done well. So yeah, let's talk about the winners and losers of this patch. So I think Rapidash is a loser, but not the biggest loser. It's hard to count Ho as a loser, because I think it'll still be like top of the meta. I still think Ho will be pretty good. I don't think Gyarados really won here. I think the biggest winner for me was Lapras. In like the actual changes, I think if you look at the bugs, the biggest winner was actually Mew, because Mew was already insanely good and got this buff. You could also, if this ends up being like plus 10% plus another 10%, Slowbro's gonna be a huge winner. Intel's gonna be a huge winner off this bug fix. I think like a lot of the bug fixes are actually the biggest winners of the patch. Obviously I think the Dragonite and Goodra things are good, but will it make them like top of the meta, like a winner? I kind of doubt it, but you know, I could be proven wrong. And yeah, the biggest loser is probably Garchomp. I think Garchomp's the biggest loser. They're like kicking it while it's down, bro. Yeah, it's funny. I think like the biggest winners and losers are actually in the bug fixes of this patch. But I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video just going over the new patch. It just came out like 30 minutes ago when I'm recording this, and yeah, the World's tier list is coming soon, guys. It's actually fully recorded now. It just needs to be edited and will be posted. Obviously there's a lot of editing, but I'm really hyped to get it out to you guys. It should be coming out in the next couple days. So that's why I haven't been streaming. I've been focused on that and Worlds prep. Obviously I'm trying to pump out some videos. These videos are a lot easier to make, and that's why we're doing it. But yeah, if you stayed this long in the video, let me know what your favorite Pokemon that got buffed or nerfed is, and like whether you like the balance patch or not. Of course, make sure to subscribe, like all that jazz. And yeah, I love you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video.